A congressional committee has come up with legislation allowing the United States unchecked power to carry out worldwide war on terrorism, including against Americans themselves. A group of religious and rights organizations, including the Muslim Public Affairs Council, sent a letter to the House Armed Services Committee declaring their opposition to the legislation.
What this provision seeks to do is really allow the president unfettered powers to declare war, a war that doesn't really indicate a specific region, a specific physical boundary, or specific physical threat. The unprecedented delegation of power of war would move from Congress to the president.
According to the National Defense Authorization Act, quote, "The President has the authority to use all necessary and appropriate force during the current armed conflict with al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and associated forces pursuant to the authorization for use of military force," unquote. Many Americans are afraid of an abuse of power that may come with a vague language, as nearly anyone can be found to be an associated force.
Well, I think it gives the President excessive powers because we do have checks and balances, so the Congress should have a say. Technically, the Congress should be the one that declares war. So this, I think, is an excessive use of the President's rights.
Though the House Armed Services Committee refused to give an interview, proponents of the NDAA state the bill is necessary to fight an unconventional enemy. But many Americans say this provision is an extension of Bush policy, which has not increased their safety.
Just to declare war on a place because it's suspected of terrorism, doesn't make much sense. I mean, we're still in Afghanistan, we're still in Iraq, and there's still a threat of terrorism here.
The same provision has attempted to pass through numerous legislation in the past but met with resistance. But this most recent attempt has seen little discussion.
There hasn't been focused attention given to this specific issue and this provision. There hasn't been hearings held on the Hill, there hasn't been conversations, there hasn't been a public debate. And for us, what we suggest is that there should be a public debate before anything like this passes.
Many are upset with President Obama for having promised to decrease the executive's war powers, yet having remained relatively silent on this legislation. The bill was created in the House Armed Services Committee, where it was passed with an overwhelming majority vote of 60-1. Next week, it will be debated on the House floor, and if it passes, will be sent to the Senate and may become law. Marjanasi, Press TV, Washington.